This Friday captive audience. How you doing, David?
Great day for a Friday.
Well, it is. It is. The sun is out, and it's been a beautiful day over here.
Oh, has it? Yeah, it's raining here.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens
But fire season ended this morning at 9:00 a.m.
when the rain started, eh?
Well, it's been raining.
Oh, okay.
We got downgraded to high, and then to moderate, and then to low. And everybody, I don't know if everybody, I was hoping that we would be out of fire season about now, and we're out of fire season about now, which means me and everybody else can start burning big piles of debris that we have to sit on all summer because you can't burn.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good. I'm glad you guys are out of that, and you can start whittling down those burn piles.
Yeah. I'm contributing to carbon. I'm releasing carbon, I think. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure how any of that stuff works.
Oh, wait a minute. I got to tell you, before we get started, I guess we're some other things. I read a story today that Bill Gates wants to dig up trees in the forest and bury them in the ground to sequester carbon. That guy never surprises me, you know? I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, God. Build a house out of it. As long as the house doesn't burn, there's no carbon. Here we are talking about carbon like it's not the building block of life.
Right.
Right. Carbon based.
Yeah, we need carbon. It's okay, you know, it's okay to have carbon. But what I really like is there is a group of scientists, since we've started right there, that have meteorologists and scientists explain why there is no climate emergency. And you know, I'm glad that people are coming back and saying, you know, this is actually what the climate does this naturally, right? So more than 1,600 scientists and informed professionals signed the Global Climate Intelligence Group World Climate Declaration. And they are bringing actual science and, in my opinion, truth out as to what is going on. You know, we're not, oh no, Bobby's eyes are rolling already. There we go. You know, climate science shouldn't be political, and it says climate science should be less political, while climate policy should be more scientific. That's how the declaration begins. And there's no climate emergency, and the alarmist messaging pushed by global elites is purely political. So 1,808 scientists and professionals stated they signed this World Climate Declaration, and we need the truth out there. There are children in school being taught the world's going to come to an end. Oh my gosh. If you write on another piece of paper, you know, and they're having climate fear. You know, when you and I were kids, we didn't worry about the climate. And
no, we were worried about nuclear war.
Pardon?
We worried about nuclear war.
We did worry about nuclear war. Absolutely. Now that's a whole nother topic that right now we should be starting to think about again. But children shouldn't have to worry about that stuff. You know, the world's going to come to an end. You know, Greta Thunberg, believe me, has been wrong many times already.
Well, no one should have to worry about stuff that isn't true. Right?
Right.
Teachers should teach things that aren't true. School curriculum should not include things that are not true. And schools should not adopt those curriculums because they're not true. So we live in a day and age where we have two types of science. We have their science, and then we have wrong science.
Yes. And we, you know, keep getting put down that we're the people that are not telling the facts. And it's
science is, you know, the outcome of any science experiment now is just whatever the person who pays the bill wants it to be, and I've told this story a dozen times, maybe not on here, but, I had dinner with two retired EPA scientists. One worked there since the EPA started, and the other one put in like 15 or so, maybe 20 years. And they said that starting in the 1990s, all the experiments given to the EPA scientific wing were asking to prove man-made global warming, and often the experiments never did. It didn't, and when they didn't, the data sets for those experiments were removed from the scientists' grasp. They could no longer use them.
Yeah, and that's what's wrong is the real science that's going to take the evidence will lead you to the outcome instead of, well, give me this predetermined outcome. Because if you want statistics, say what statistic do you want? Because I can make it happen. That's not science.
No, it's not science, and you can question science. Science is always questioned. Scientists question other scientists. Scientists
Yes.
read other people's scientific stuff to see if there's any questions that need to be asked and to see how they did it. And and they often argue relentlessly about outcomes and possible theories and hypotheses. And none of this whole climate thing, it's not settled science. It's not gravity. Gravity is settled science.
That's for sure. Gravity exists,
Gravity
and
exists, yeah, and although you can't escape it, it exerts its force on everything within the body that is generating the gravitational pull. That's settled science. The world is coming to an end because of fossil fuels is just theory. Well, it's not even theory, really. If you really want to call it what it is, it's just a political operation designed to transfer wealth from people who have it to people who don't, or people who want more of it. And it's just ridiculous. And it's taught in schools like it's fact. Well, and everybody, all the media says it's fact. Every media thing have anything to do with the weather has a fossil fuels are causing the end of the world component to it. All the words.
If you want to keep your funding, you're going to spout this.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
in this thing, I'd like to read this little bit. It says the Earth has warmed about 2 degrees Fahrenheit since the end of the Little Ice Age around 1850. 2 degrees since 1850, but that hardly constitutes an emergency or even a crisis, since the planet has been warmer yet over the last few millennia. And this is from Ralph Alexander, a retired physicist and author of the website Science Under Attack, as he told the Epoch Times, and quote, there is plenty of evidence that average temperatures were higher during the so-called medieval warm period centered around the year 1000, the Roman warm period when grapes and citrus fruits were grown in now much colder Britain, and in the early Holocene after the last regular ice age ended. The climate emergency is fiction, he said unequivocally.
Yeah, it is. It is fiction.
It is. And
and furthermore, the policy doesn't change the climate. There's no policy that a human being can adopt that would change the climate, because human beings did not cause any climate change.
So I posted this in the link in our comments, and people should really check this out. And it gives you some information that I think is good to pass on and help educate others, especially children.
Yeah. I remember my grandson spouting all of this. I was going to say a bad word there, spreading all the crap that he learned in school at just a young age. He learned that guns are violent, and that any building that has any kind of vapor coming out of it is a factory that's polluting. Like second grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just there's no hope for people. There's no hope for people who are ill and mal-educated. There's no hope for them unless they understand at some point in their adult life, like I have, perhaps like you have, perhaps not, but I learned later in adult life that there was a lot of shit that I learned that wasn't true.
Yes. Yes. And, to go back to your statement about carbon, we are carbon based. And it states right here, this Mr. Berry, is that the public perception of carbon dioxide is that it goes into the atmosphere and stays there. They think it just accumulates, but it doesn't. So he goes on to explain that when you look at the flow of carbon dioxide, flow meaning the carbon moving from one carbon reservoir to another through photosynthesis, the eating of plants, and back out through respiration, so he's giving you some scientific data of what truly, truly happens. And so he ends up saying that carbon dioxide molecules stay in the atmosphere for about 3.5 years. 3.5 years. That's the turnover rate of as it turns over from humans, going through the cycle of life of our world, and it's fluid.
The scientific facts about carbon dioxide include this. Carbon dioxide is the building block of life. Without carbon dioxide, there is no life. The other fact about carbon dioxide is that if there were less carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, more people would go hungry. If carbon dioxide decreased significantly, the world would starve to death.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there were more carbon dioxide, if there were 3 times more carbon dioxide than there is right now, the earth would be lush and green like it was in some other period throughout its history.
Yeah.
we would have once again have rainforests in Texas, East Texas, West Texas. Those are the facts about carbon dioxide. We use carbon dioxide. We increase carbon dioxide content in greenhouses and indoor growing facilities by a factor of 3 to get the best growth out of the plants.
Yeah, I mean, you're in the plant growing business, so you know all about that part. And so, David, what is your take on the what's going on over in Israel?
Well, I just about laughed out of my chair when I read that Hamas was calling for a truce and wanted to go to the table and talk.
Right. Oh, oops, we spanked you, and now we want to let's negotiate.
It's a little late for that, I think. And beyond all of the the rhetoric on both sides, man, I'll tell you what, there's a couple things that bother me about it. One thing that bothers me about it is this word Palestinian. Now, maybe I'm just ill-educated or not educated enough, but I can't find anywhere in history where there was ever a country called Palestine. There's never been a country called Palestine. So what the hell is a Palestinian? To me, a Palestinian is an Arab, most likely a Muslim, living in Israel.
Well, that is where they live.
Now, I'm sure I will get some hate mail from people like our previous treasurer, who is apparently Palestinian heritage. But I don't get that. I guess there is a people, and they call themselves Palestinians, or I don't know. But anyways, so that's one of the things that bugs me about it. The other thing that bugs me about it is
there was a country, Palestine.
Well,
yeah. Officially, the state of Palestine is a state located in West Asia. I'm looking I Googled it up.
They're lying to you.
There's the flag, but you know where it is?
They're lying to you.
It is where, but where it is, right? This is Wikipedia. Yeah, you can't trust that.
No, and that's so that's the whole, that's the whole arena in which the conversation about Israel and Israeli Arabs the arena that it's played in. There's no Palestine. They want there to be a Palestine, and I'm not saying there shouldn't be a Palestine, but anyways, that's one of the parts that bugs me. The other thing that bugs me is Hamas, or these Israeli Arabs, including Hezbollah, which I think you can rightfully call Lebanese, because Lebanon is in fact a country, has been for quite some time. They know that they can't win a war with Israel, right? I mean, I get that they're zealots, and I get that they want to rape and kill and maim and cut people's heads off and all of that kind of stuff. I get that. But what I don't get is that they know they can't win a war with Palestine or with Israel. So what in the hell are they doing? Because nothing, you don't plan these sort of things for no reason.
No, absolutely not. You're absolutely right.
New York Times did an in-depth report on this and reported that, they investigated that this thing's been in the planning for 2 years, and that they were training people out in the open in the Gaza Strip, right across the road from free Israel, I guess. And so you don't do this for anything. And so, as I'm going about my day today, doing the kind of work that I've really come to loathe, which is construction work, especially when it involves wood, heavy wood, wet, heavy wood. Anyways, so as I'm going about my day, I'm thinking, well, the only reason they're doing this is because they know they have backup, right? Mm-hmm. Because Israel is going to respond, and they have responded, and they've responded with great force. And I think what they're trying to do here is I think they're trying to provoke an international situation, international war, an international crisis, international incident, skirmish, whatever. What do they call those things that aren't wars? Like Vietnam wasn't a war. It was, what do they call them? What's the word for that? I forget. But anyways, that's what I think they're trying to do. And so as I continue to think about that, I think, well, we've got the Ukraine going on over there. We're, sending our ammunition and our money over there. And then, if we have this thing and Iran gets involved, then we have to get involved. I mean, Iran is financing this thing. And then I'm thinking, all that has to happen now after those two things are in place is China invades Taiwan. Oh, yeah. And now we have a United States with military off in all different directions, overcommitted, probably underarmed or whatever. And I don't know, strategically to me, it sounds like an attack on the United States. That's what it sounds like to me. Might be imminent.
Yeah, so I'm going to push back on you because Palestine has existed, and it is within the same region of Israel. Absolutely. There's been Palestinian and the PLO. Remember the Palestinian Liberation Organization that's been around forever? There has
never been a country called Palestine.
Well, I disagree with you. And
cite your source.
And that's okay.
Cite your source.
So there is even a president right now, a seated president of Palestine. But the thing is, I'm not going to argue with you about Palestine. We're going to just agree to disagree on that geography and that country. There are Palestinians, and but I do believe that we are getting put into this is all by design. And what is interesting is here you have Israel saying, let's go out of you need to evacuate the northern part of the Gaza, and everybody has closed their borders. So where do the people go? They've all closed their borders in the region. And so where can anybody go to actually evacuate, the area? And Hamas, this is by design. I can't believe when they said, oh, well, Israel didn't know anything about this.
It surprises me that Israel didn't know anything about this. It surprises me that the United States intelligence community didn't know anything about this. especially since it was planned. And I mean, you can't move 4,000 or 5,000 rockets into location inside the country of Israel without the IDF knowing or Mossad knowing, right? I mean, can you do that? I don't think you can do that. And if you can do that, then Israel needs to step up its game.
Yeah, there's some have said, well, they've been complacent, and maybe that's what it was. And who knows? And with our current president, there is no leadership. So what's happening there?
That concerns me. I brought it up on the show with Kevin. Is that if Hamas can do this, then can this happen to the United States? Can we have 5,000 rockets amassed somewhere out in the middle of nowhere in Mexico? I think we can. Can we have 10,000 people rush the border? 50,000, 100,000 rush the border? Yeah.
Oh, they've already been. We're already invaded, David.
I know.
We're invaded, and that's why, they called for today a day of jihad. Some are calling it a day of conflict, but ISIS and Hamas and those groups are calling today. They had called for a day of jihad. What has happened around the world, I don't know. But
well, I'm glad I don't live in big city. So
me too.
My kids
but
are doing.
We still have to be aware. I think we all have to pay attention to our situational awareness, because it could come at any time from anywhere. And I think that even our smaller communities could be affected, just to instill fear, more fear into Americans.
Yeah. Well, two of my kids are doing a musical festival this weekend, and they took long guns.
Okay.
Just in case.
Yeah. Well, listen, at Harvard, there's been universities of, having the people that are supporting Hamas.
Rah, Israeli Arabs.
Right. They have been. This is amazing to me. So here today, Israeli billionaire pulls out of Harvard over the school's delayed response to the Hamas attack. And he and his wife resigned yesterday from the executive board of Harvard. And, because their university, they had many people signed a pro-Hamas letter by more than 30 student organizations. And now they've been starting to get out who signed them, and they're all retracting it.
Yeah.
If they could
a lot of the schools did that. I know Wharton School of Business did it, and there was a letter by 30 or 50 hedge fund managers who said that they would never hire anyone from that school again.
And you know what? I love that statement. I love that statement. Just kick Harvard right off your list. If you're going there, forget it.
Yeah, because if you're stupid enough to think that there are people called Palestinians, you don't deserve a job.
Oh, David.
David. Somebody's probably going to pick up on this broadcast, and they're going to send hit people after me for denying the state of Palestine. I've said worse things.
It's good that someone else today or yesterday had said, donors, shut your pockobooks to all of these universities.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know what? Shut it down.
Yeah.
The alumni was screaming about it as well, going, what in the heck?
Yeah. Well, the hedge fund manager letter said the same thing, that they'd no longer be donating to the school and that they would not hire anyone who signed it. So anybody coming out of Wharton, I would imagine Stanford probably got the same letter. Harvard probably got the same letter. Whatever the other schools of business there are, Yale, I guess. Yeah, it's all the same stuff, and it brings us back to what we first talked about, is we have wrongly educated Americans. We have an education system that is just full of lies, propaganda, and untruths. and people are paying $150,000, $200,000 for an education that's just BS. It's
Yeah.
you know, and they they walk into I interface
And then
with.
they wonder why they can't go get a job.
Well, yeah, I mean, I interface with them, and I listen to them, and I go, "Yeah, you don't know what you don't know what you don't know." You
Mhm.
know, you
Yeah.
know. I had a kid working for me. He had a degree in environmental science, and we got talking about global warming. And I said, what do you make of the what was it, the 12-year, 16-year, 9-year pause?" And he goes, "What's that?" I go, "Wait a minute, you didn't learn about that in school?" He goes, "No." I said, "Well, that's the pause in the global temperatures going up. That they just didn't go up for like 9 years or 16 years, whatever the hell it was." And this look came over his face like someone had poked his balloon. And he kind of withdrew, and he got out his phone. And he started looking at his phone. And he just kind of walked off. Like, how much did you pay for that education that didn't even tell you, about the pause because it doesn't fit the narrative? It's really too bad. I'm not sure what's going to happen to this country with the people who are so uneducated. The only, miseducated, I guess is a good term. I guess the only real saving grace is that COVID put parents into the classroom via Zoom or whatever they were using. And so many parents were just shocked, to see what their kids are being
Yes.
taught, and have pulled their kids. So
That was a caveat of that for sure.
it'll pay great dividends.
Yeah. So Pat says if money wasn't their god, the world would be so much nicer. Well, speaking of money, Bank of America closes 21 branches in 1 week, while Wells Fargo shutters 15. And that is in the first weeks of October. And there is going to be more shutterings. In total, some 54 banks had closed or were scheduled to close across the U.S. And there's U.S. Bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and they are going to be shuttering more. And in this article, it also talks about, well, gee whiz, we don't have banks in the low income areas. There's some sections of our society that just doesn't have access to a bank. And in fact, the survey found that the brick and mortar services are less accessible, to Black Americans, while 14% of Black Americans said they did not have a local branch. That was only the case of 8% for white Americans. So it's gone down that rabbit trail. But banks are closing, which is forcing more people going into having digital, never going to the bank and doing everything digitally.
It's the way I like it. I had to
Well,
go into a bank last week. First time I've been into a bank in a long time. And I needed change. I was doing payroll and I needed change. And I had to show them my ID and give them my social security number and a note from my dead mother before they would change a total not to exceed of $200 for me.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, what's interesting is I'm involved in a couple of banks, and I went to one bank that's actual bank, and I got a bunch of change, no questions asked. Went into the credit union I belonged to, and I needed change, and they said, "What's your account number?" I said, "Oh, really? If I don't have an account here, I can't just get change?" No.
No.
I said, "Well, that's interesting," because it was during Roundup and I had gotten into both of those banks for the very same reason of needing change. But I'll tell you what I like about cash. And I know that you deal a lot with cash,
I
and
do.
not having going digital is because all the fees that are paid with digital currency is just go enriching the banks. You're pulling money away you're losing money by paying the digital fees. Where with cash, it's cash is cash. There's no fee to have a cash.
Yeah. Yeah. The consumer's losing, no doubt.
Yeah, and your community is losing, too. With everything is currency, is digital, then that little mom and pop business is losing a lot in fees instead of
No, they're not.
Just
Well, if they're
cash.
smart, they're charging you the fee.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
ultimately, the consumer pays for the cost of business, whether it be bank fees, taxes, fines, whatever it is. The consumer pays for that. So, there's a lot to be said for that. And I live in an area that is almost, I'm not sure what it is, but it's predominantly cash. Everybody does business here in cash, and wholesale suppliers take large quantities of cash, 10, 20, $30,000 in cash. And, works for me.
Yeah.
Well,
So there was
yeah.
a Bank of America in Redmond, Oregon that closed, and a Wells Fargo was in Gresham that closed, and US Bank, there was one, I thought. Nope. US Bank didn't have any in Oregon that closed. So it is, and there was a study that was done, a study by the Federal Reserve showed a 12.4% jump in digital transactions in the first quarter of 2020. Well, hello, everybody was shut down. Of course it's going to jump, in the first quarter.
I'm sure banks are having a hard time making money right now. I mean, people aren't, they're not spending a lot of extra money because they don't have a lot of extra money. And then their bread and butter, which are mortgages, have slowed down to a trickle. So I would imagine that those banks with brick and mortar stores, have to make that decision to close those. And I think most people are going to digital banking anyhow. So most people don't deal in cash. Most people, especially younger people, I'm not sure why, but they don't receive cash. They're not paid in cash. They don't do anything in cash. It's all digital. And I like the convenience of digital, but I'd rather not have people know how I spend my money. Not that it's, any big secret. It's just my business and not theirs.
Well, that's the beauty of cash that younger people don't know about. But
Yeah.
now, the Biden administration has, I just posted this in there, threatens banks that refuse to lend money to illegal immigrants.
Huh.
And yet, so they released.
Is that even legal?
No. They released, the Biden administration released a statement yesterday warning financial institutions against using a person's immigration status in credit applications. But actually, immigration status is not on a credit application. It's against the law it's illegal to discriminate on the basis of race, color, religion, national origin, sex, and more. There's nothing in there that says your citizenship.
Really?
So it is illegal. So let's see. We want fair access to credit is crucially important for building wealth and strengthening household stability. Come on.
Establishing all of these millions of people that have crossed our border without documentation or legality. That's what.
Yeah, and they're paying them. We're paying each of these people. They want to pay them, house them, and feed them. And at our cost, when they're not doing that for our homeless, they're not doing that for our veterans. It's an atrocity, quite frankly, in America. But to have then the president and his administration come out and go, you have got to be careful now. Be very, we're cautioning you that you have better not, discriminate against their immigration status. Who the hell wants to loan anybody anything to somebody who is in this country illegal, who's going to be deported, and take whatever you lent them, unless it's a house, if it's a car, from with you, with them even. Could be. I don't know. No.
Well, I'll tell you what, the car dealers are more than happy to loan money to illegal immigrants or illegal aliens.
So speaking of illegals, I'm going to post this story here that the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is cheerleading the migrant invasion at the southern border.
Yes, the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Yeah. Bastion of conservative ideals.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, David. They are not the bastion of conservative ideals by any means.
They are not. I remember being chair of Marion County. People told me, "Yeah, you got to go become a member of the chamber and go out there and schmooze." So I did, and God, what a bunch of not conservative people.
No. So in this story, it says the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is the foremost lobby promoting corporate interests via influence peddling in the federal government. The reason, obviously, that the organization favors ever-increasing immigration is that the bulk of such migrants are low-skilled competitors to American workers, particularly in the manufacturing and service, who drive down the price of labor. So you wonder why labor prices haven't gone up in our country. It truly is because of those coming across the border.
Well, I'm happy about that.
So, but our Chamber of Commerce, it's not surprising to me that they're doing this, but I don't agree with it for sure. Well,
no, and it's another political operation. I mean, the Democrats are doing this, and I've said this before. The Democrats are doing this to secure the demographic change that they need to stay in power.
Yeah,
that's why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Why is it being financed and probably by people outside the United States of America? Well, that's another very sinister, quite likely a more sinister motive, and that's to inflict destruction and chaos within the American society. Because I've said it, and other people have said it. In order for globalists to succeed with whatever the hell it is they want, and I'm not really sure, they have to destroy America. America is the barrier to a new world order, if you will.
There was, I'm trying to think of the fella's name. Oh, he had come out yesterday and said you would recognize it if I could think of his name. He came out yesterday and said the Soros plan of open borders is wrong. The globalization of no borders is wrong.
Yeah, it's not just happening here.
No.
It's happening in all of the Western countries. There's no big border invasion into any African country or sans war. There's no big border invasion into Middle Eastern countries. There's no big border invasion into communist countries. People aren't invading China.
No. No, nobody's trying to break in there.
North Korea, Russia,
right?
The Western nations are being subject to weaponized migration. With the exception of Poland.
With the exception of Poland. Poland has closed borders, and they're going, no, thank you. You're not sending.
They will shoot you if you try to get across their border. They will kill you.
So on Wednesday, Don and I touched on just very briefly that the UK cannot expel the illegal immigrants in their country, and it has to do something with the EU. Even though they have done the Brexit, the exit from the EU, something in there, they are not allowed to do that. And frankly, I don't believe it. Just ship them out. You just ship them out. So, but of course, they're going to have their lobbyist groups that are going to file a lawsuit and try to stop all of that too in the UK. Yeah, I like Poland's stance, quite frankly. saying, "Not, we're a sovereign nation. We're going to stay that way."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure you can migrate to Poland, but you're not just going to walk across their border.
No.
You know, and yeah, and that's the way it should be. I mean, if you don't have secure borders, and Europeans used to have secure borders. I was subject to one of their border things back in the late 70s. Um, you know, I couldn't get into a country that I was already staying in because I'd left the country for the day. And I came back and they wouldn't let me in and blah, blah, blah. And then when I tried to leave, they wanted to put me in jail. I said, you know, just let me leave. I'm going to get on that ferry and you'll never see me again. You know, and for good reason. The reason back in the 70s and what you needed if you were traveling throughout Western Europe is you needed money so that you weren't going to become a welfare recipient, and or you needed a plane ticket back out of the country. If you had a round trip ticket, you're okay. If you had a credit card, if you had enough money, you're okay. If you didn't have those things, then they wouldn't let you into your country.
No.
That was the Netherlands back when I happened, and that's how you have sovereign countries. So I mean, sovereign countries, borders.
It is. You know, you can just walk across the border in America, but good luck trying to come in, you know, lawfully now. I mean, I can't even imagine what it's like for people trying. And now they have imposed, if we want to go to Europe, Americans have to have a visa. If you didn't hear that, that was.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, within the past couple of weeks.
Really?
It is, yes. For American citizens, if you want to go to Europe, you have to have a visa before.
Well, I'll be darned.
So check all the regulations before you plan a trip. Hey, I want to touch on a couple of things quickly. I see we've been on quite a bit here.
Yeah.
So I just posted, there's 5 Supreme Court cases to watch this session. And one, it's on social media censorship. Federal regulation is another one. Separation of powers, gerrymandering, and gun rights are on the docket. So that's going to be very interesting as to what comes down the pike. Unfortunately, they haven't picked up anything on election integrity, and that is, to me, disappointing, because I'm sure some cases have gone far enough. I don't know that they have, but I would assume that they have. Something else I wanted to bring out was that good news was the courts have ruled in Georgia that there was no evidence in Georgia's voting law discrimination. And so that is actually a win for the Republicans, and that they're not going to, the election laws that were passed in Georgia by the Republicans are just going to stand. So that's a really good thing. And I wanted to also let you know there's another person who has run for the Oregon House Speaker. It's a Democrat, Dan Rayfield. He's actually the Oregon House Speaker. So now we have 2 Republicans and 1 Democrat. Robert Nauman, I don't know who that is, and Will Lathrop, who I do know who that is. And now we have Oregon House Speaker Dan Rayfield. I guess they had to get him in. He's 44 years old, and he's the first Democrat to announce his intentions to run.
Right. Well, a Democrat will probably win, so you got to have a Democrat so that they can win.
I pray that's not the case.
Yeah.
I pray that's not the case. And, you know, we did have Dennis Richardson, who won statewide, Republican. And it's we just need somebody who's going to represent all the people instead of just the Democrats in our state.
Well, that's not going to happen in our state until something changes. I know people don't like to hear that.
Never say never. I'm optimistic. But we have a lot of work to do, and people have to turn in their flipping ballots.
Yeah.
You know? And
we need more ballots.
Well, we have a lot of voters, those unaffiliated voters that lean conservative. We need them turning in their ballots,
That would help.
right? We
Yeah.
do. We have a lot. And like in my county in Umatilla County, because we outnumber the Democrats 2-1, those unaffiliated voters, it stands to reason that those numbers are the same, 2-1. And but they need to turn their ballots in. Whether they change their voter registration or not, they need to turn the dang ballots in.
Yeah.
But
yeah, well, I remember Dallas Hurd told me that 3/4 of unaffiliated voters are conservative. So
yeah, I'd like to see where that is. It's only 2-1, and I'm really conservative over here, So I mean, I don't think so. That was a lie, a big fat lie.
he was pretty good at that, wasn't he?
Oh man,
lying that
oh
is.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
man,
didn't believe much of what ever came out of his mouth.
what a spin monster, man.
Yeah. And a lot of people fell for it too. That's the amazing part.
Oh yeah, well, well, you know my opinion on that.
Yes, I do. I do too. All right. Well, hey, everybody, have a great weekend. And stay aware of your situation around you because you just never know. We do have a lot of illegals across the border, and they're not all friendly. They're not all bad either. But you know what? There are going to be those that do not have our best interests at heart.
Well, I'll tell you what, this new crop coming across the border is increasingly not from anywhere south of our border.
No, a lot of Chinese coming.
A lot of Chinese, a lot of Middle Eastern, a lot of Africans.
Yeah. Yep.
So, some of those people culturally want to kill us, or at least that's what they do when they're on. That's what they say when they're on TV, chanting in the streets, "Death to America." So,
yeah, exactly. Right after Iran got the 6 billion, that's exactly what they were screaming: "Death to America."
Yeah.
Don't ever forget it, because that is really where they're at.
Oh yeah. Death to Israel, death to America. That's what they've been saying that for decades.
Yeah.
They want to destroy the little Satan and the big Satan. I'm not sure which one of us is little and which one of us is big. I guess we're the big and Israel's the little, but they don't like the Jews and we support the Jews, and so we're bad too. I don't get the whole Jew thing. I don't know what the problem is. I mean, I've read the history, and the Jewish society is one of the best record keepers in the world. They have the best records probably ever kept by any people throughout the history of civilization. And I guess because they're God's chosen people, and a lot of people hate God, that's why they hate the Jews.
But something that I have never understood, David, why do most of the Jews vote Democrat?
I don't understand that either. And when you told me that Jewish, whoever were resigning from Harvard, and I'm sure some of the fund managers are Jews, I totally get that they do that. What I don't get is they vote for the party that is demonstrably the most anti-Semitic political party in America. I mean, they literally believe that Israel deserves, to be killed, murdered, maimed, raped, kidnapped, and have their heads chopped off. And I don't understand that.
I don't either. Maybe it's the case of they really don't vote that way. They're registered that way, but they don't vote that way. I don't know. I don't know, because I was having a conversation with somebody today about, I know 2 people that are registered Democrats, but they are conservatives. But they registered that way because it makes their life a little easier in their job that they are. And so, you know, is it that the
Yeah.
case? I have no idea.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't.
either. But the Jews, you know, a lot of the Jews, especially in Hollywood, they're just as progressive and commie as can be. And I think, you know, the progressive left have really shown themselves in the last week to
Oh,
be literally Nazis.
yeah,
Literally,
absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely. When you
Very-
are cheering the slaughter and the murder of
Yeah,
people and children and
yeah.
babies, you know, that's nothing. I don't care who it is. That is nothing to cheer about whatsoever.
No, it's not. It's not, and it's not. You know, it's not the right course of action if there are a bunch of Israeli Arabs and they want to form a country called Palestine. I don't think that's how you do it. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't think that's how you go about it. I don't
No,
think you.
that's not how you win friends and influence people.
No, well, you do in the political left in America and other countries apparently. So and apparently have invigorated a number of supporters around the world since they've gone out in the streets in support of what Hamas has done, and including America. You know, they're you know, I think when you go to one of those rallies, I think what you're looking at are domestic terrorists uh,
Yeah.
in waiting. I think that's what you're looking at. I mean, you're looking at people that live in America that hate America.
Yeah. I agree with that.
And the Constitution doesn't seem to. For I think it was an oversight in the Constitution. For some reason, we can't kill those people. I don't know why, but it seems like we should be able to. I mean, we've done it all, you know, other places in the world. So, but we certainly shouldn't allow them to live here. That's for sure. Gosh dang, man.
No, no, not at all. You know, and if you're not happy with America, leave.
Yeah.
Go live somewhere else.
Yeah, well, that's not the way they see it. They see that America needs fixed, and they're the ones that are going to fix it, and they're going to fix it by destroying it. And that's one way to fix things. You can certainly change things if you destroy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be an ongoing battle.
It is, and I hope we're not headed into World War III, but I feel that we are. And
Yeah,
I
it's kind of
really feel that this will expand into China invading Taiwan, and America is going to be stretched very, very, very thin. And we have, I think, a generation that is clueless about this, and then we have others that are going, "Oh yeah, this is bad." You know, we've never, you and I have not truly lived through a war in our country. You know, we've
no.
been through skirmishes, right? Smaller things, but
Yeah,
not at the scale that this could become.
yeah. Well, we already have a carrier strike group there,
Yeah,
and there is a second one on its way.
yeah.
And that's some serious carrier strike group is some serious firepower, enough to destroy countries. I mean, if Palestine were a country, it could destroy Palestine. So, somebody of Palestinian descent is going to hear this, and they're going to be really mad at me. But maybe I'm wrong. You know, maybe at some point in history, 10,000 years ago, there was a country called Palestine, but I could never find it.
Okay. Well, do a little more research, David. And we're gonna leave that right there. And everybody have a great weekend. Play with your dogs. Good luck with your big trees, and burn that wood pile you got.
Yeah, I'm going to go mining.
Okay. Oh, hey, have fun. Have fun with that. Oh, I saw a guy mining the other day. Um, he had the thing was as big as his hand. You know, it was a huge nugget. A huge nugget. Yeah, I went, oh wow, that's cool. It was
We'll
like
find out every day.
$200,000 worth.
Wow.
I went, whoa, that was and all one big nugget.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was 200,000. It was a big damn nugget.
200,000 would be about 100 pounds.
Oh, it wasn't that big then. No, it wasn't that.
100 pounds of gold is not very big.
It's no, it seemed to me it was like 50 pounds, 40 to 50 pounds. You know, it was
Gold
really large.
Gold today is about just shy of 29,000 a pound.
29,000 a pound?
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I never thought of it in terms of pounds.
Yeah. When you're a gold miner, you think in terms of pounds, not
Oh,
ounces.
well, yeah, absolutely.
Unless you have a
Absolutely.
TV show and then they do it ounces. But
There you go. Well, hey, have fun.
thank you. Good night, everyone.
Night.